Okay, here's a simple but very powerful card effect that anyone can do right away. It's based on something called the even clusters principle, and I can add a link in the description below to this principle if you want to learn more about it. Okay, so I have all of the black cards and red cards separated, okay, and they're in no particular order. That is actually the case, okay. So what we're going to do, maybe I'll turn the packets this way so I can fit everything on the camera view fairly well. Now each of us, and you can have the spectator mix their cards further if they would like. So each of us are going to set down a number of cards unknown to the other to build up a single pile. So the spectator's free to take any number of cards whatsoever and set them, maybe we'll set them like this, okay? And then you as the performer do a similar thing. Now it's important that you not know the number here. Same thing here for the performer. Now I'm going to give you part of the secret which will help speed up the tutorial at the end. So what you're doing secretly is you're setting down even clusters, even numbers of cards. Okay, so if each of you want to do this kind of under the table so that the other doesn't see how many cards they choose, that'd be fine. Okay, and then maybe the spectator chooses that number, and then you go through here, and maybe you just choose 2 without making that known. Spectator chooses a big group there, and then maybe you, unknown to the spectator, once again choose a big cluster of 6. Okay. And then they choose some number, and then maybe I'll secretly choose 4, and then they can choose whatever number they like. Okay, and then maybe I'll do 6 again without telling them that, and then they'll put down some unknown number for you. At least you don't know what it is. Maybe I'll put down 2, maybe they'll put down 2 as well. Neither one of us know that. I'll put down my remaining 2, and then they can put down their single card. Okay, and then at this point, the spectator is free to cut the cards wherever they would like. So just like that. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to divide the cards into multiple piles. Maybe we'll have like 4 piles. I think that's probably enough. Okay, so 4 piles of cards just like this. Okay. Now for each of these we're going to, and the spectator can actually do this, okay? So if it feels like I'm rushing, it's because I am, because my videos are always, according to comments, always too long. So I'm trying to do it as fast as I can. I'm not sure why people can't just watch the video on double speed if they think it's taking too long. Okay, and then you just deal these out into 2 piles like that. Okay, so we have these 4 pairs of piles. Okay, you see that 4 pairs of piles. Now for each of these, the spectator or you are free to mix the cards within each pile. Okay, it is probably a good idea to do that. Okay, so you just take each of these, kind of mix them, and maybe the spectator can help you to speed things along. Okay, and then at this point we're just going to bring out a written prediction, actually. So maybe I'm just kind of cutting. Oh, whoa, that went off the board, off the pad there. Okay, like that, and then I'll just kind of mix these a bit. Okay, so what does our written prediction say that we've accomplished somehow with all of this crazy dealing and mixing of the cards? Well, let's just take a look. It's over here on the right. So what does it say here? Okay, so the written prediction says the following. The 2 piles within each pair of piles will contain the same number of red cards. There is no way that could possibly be true. Okay, so we have 4 pairs of cards, so let's just check out these 2 here. Okay, so right now we have 3 red. You see that? Supposedly there's 3 red here as well. And there are. Okay, we got 1 out of 4. How many red here? 3 again. That's fine. For this to be correct, we need 3. We got them. And then down here, how many do we have? We have 2 red, as you can see. So down here, kind of almost in view. How many do we have here? 1, 2. And finally, let's try to nail this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 red. I'll set them like that. Do we have 5 red here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We do indeed. Check that out. A perfect confirmation of a prediction that was written before all of these choices were made by the spectator, you as well. But those choices were made in an unknown fashion to one another. And then I just split the cards into 4 random little sub-piles, and then we dealt those into 2, and then we mixed each of those piles within each pair and then dealt them out. And somehow this written prediction absolutely nailed this impossible outcome. Okay, so that is an example of the even clusters principle. So if you want to learn more about that, access the link in the description below. There's just one little secret I need to tell you, and you can do this right away, actually. So you divide the cards up into, like black, red, 26 cards each. Okay, so let me just tell you one little secret. You may have seen it on recording. If you did, that's fine. Typically, you would do it in such a way that the spectator doesn't see it. But the only remaining key that you need to know is that when I was dividing up, do you remember how I was dividing up into like 4 piles? I just needed to make sure that I hit at a black card at the bottom. Okay, so the black card at the bottom, black card at the bottom, and so forth. Okay, and then it wouldn't matter whether this is black or red at the bottom here. Okay, so you divide it at a black card, and then you just do everything I did, and this will perfectly match your written prediction. So thank you for watching, and take a look at other videos on the Absolute Math Magic channel.